Hi guys, do you want to see my big pink banana? Well, you can't, because I could only get it in yellow. Unfortunately, although I did a search to see if they did it in other colours, yellow was the only colour. So this is a USB power supply. Yes, it's completely lost dignity, but not to worry. What's interesting about this though, it's the USB power bank, and what's interesting about this one is the shape. If you plug a light into it, it's actually really good for holding. It's quite a handy sort of gun-shaped torch effect. It's quite neat, that. And if I open it up, and reveal the insides, it shows a pretty typical USB power supply, a USB power bank arrangement of the contacts. And all they've done is they've shaped it and they've made it so that it will basically accommodate the cell in this position within the curvature of the case. And I thought, oh, that's going to just be a bog standard FM6316 chip. But no, there's a couple of things that made me realise it's not the standard chip. If I put this back in, if I plug a load into it like this light, the little red LED lights to show it's discharging as normal, and if I unplug it, it stays lit for a while, and then it goes out. And that's quite unusual. That's something that the FM6316 chips don't do. And then I plugged it into charge, and it did this. Now the LED is flash on and off, and it's the same LED. There is only one position for an LED. Well, there's actually two positions, but only one is occupied. And the one LED serves as both the discharge indicator and the charging indicator, and it flashes. So I promptly removed the circuit board. And I wondered if it was just an update on the FM6316 chip, if it was just a different version, but no, it's different. It's the same sort of arrangement. It's got the little chip in there, the little 8-pin chip. It's got the same booster. But this one is an HT4921E. And I looked that up. And it's made by a company called Hot Chip, which isn't actually a very good name for a company, really. And it's very similar in the way it works to the other chips, except for this strange control of the LED. Now, it does show it with a blue LED attached and the red. I'm not sure why. I wonder if this is just a different version of the chip that's got the multifunctionality of the LED, the flashing and the other. And this is a very heavily Chinese data sheet, and basically it shows that it's got the usual features. You can set the charge current, which is controlled through this. It's got the voltage, output voltage is monitored, and it's strangely, it's got an over voltage protect. If it goes up to about 6 volts, it will shut off. I'm not sure why that would be. I'm not sure why it would even get up there. Don't know. It's also got overcurrent protect, which the other one has as well, which seems to just measure the voltage across the MOSFET that's driving the boost circuit. And really, it just looks like the other common chip that's normally used in these. I'm not sure what this is. Maybe this is over discharge protection, but it's not incorporated into this unit. As with the other chips, when the voltage goes down too low, it does shut off the booster, but then even when it's shut off the booster, current can still flow from the battery positive through the coil, through the diode, and if you've got a load that's maybe a fairly resistive load, it will still trickle current out, and it could run the battery quite well below its minimum voltage, so it doesn't have that sort of protection. Now, while I was looking at the data sheet, I also discovered that its standby current is 0.35 milliamps. Now, that's terrible. That is 350 microamps. Now, let me just check that and see if it actually is that. So, let's put this to microamps, and we'll stick the battery, we'll stick this back in. I should mention this comes without a battery. I guess there may be versions that come with the battery, but this one came without the battery and it just didn't fit. It came in the two halves and I could not get it to clip together in a sensible manner. I ended up having to nibble away bits of plastic here to fit round the large USB connector, because otherwise it was pushing him with such force it was actually distorting the metal around the connector and stopping it actually working. So let's put this back in here, if I can put it back in here. Looks alright. I will stick the battery back in, and I shall just park the back of the battery against the spring and then put the meter in the circuit. So it starts off 345 microamps, just standby current, but then it drops down to 36 microamps. So I'm not sure why they implied that it was going to be higher in the data sheet. Not sure about that. But it does seem to go into a sort of standby mode. And you compare that with something like one of these standard, the FM based ones, and its standby current is, let's see if I can get this in here, 14 microamps. So once it's gone into standby mode, this isn't actually too bad. But it's interesting that there's other chips available, and to be honest, I quite like the shape of this. It's kind of silly, it's kind of weird, but functional as well. So yeah, shame it's not available in other colours. I like the smutty double entendre possibility of the pink banana, but yellow banana is just absolutely fine. It's got that sort of matte texture to it. It's quite interesting. It's quite a neat. It's quite a neat little device. Not terribly efficient when you compare it to an equivalent unit, but the novelty factor is certainly there.